Now I hear me. Do y'all hear me? Is it loud? Too loud? Or did I just have it too loud? Let's see. I think we're good, kids. What is going on, everybody? Grizzly Bear Leather Crafting, welcome, my friend Craig. Good to see you, brother. What is up, Hinder Collector? I will shoot you a link in a little bit, dude. I don't know how long I'm going to stay live. I was just checking it out real quick. Paul Mills, my brother from another mother. We're working on an epic swap. Hopefully David Jewell will come back, guys. If you're not following David Jewell, he lives in my North Alabama part of the world. And this is probably one of the best knife sharpeners with one of the coolest collections. Let me show you something real quick. Let me ask you guys if I'll have to find it. Who else we got in here? We got Acid Test Kids. What is going on, guys? I'm not expecting a lot of people to be in here because it's late, but I didn't want to jump on anybody's time. Are you really Grizzly Bear Leather Crafting? Are you on Instagram, buddy? MPG EDC. I thought you were going to bed, girl. Good to see you guys. Hey, Grizzly Bear, feel free. Let me make you a mod and you can share your links because I'd love to know. I'm in North Alabama. Hold on a second. Let me find this. And now you can pop your social link in there, meet people in here. People can check out your stuff. We're always needing leather, whether it be slips. Oh, I know what I was supposed to do too. Where's my... I'm just not on the ball, guys. I apologize. War Eagle, brother. I went to school at Auburn. Louis, I fell asleep today at Spencer226. What's up? I fell asleep this afternoon for some reason at like, I don't know, 4 o'clock and slept, woke up. And I'm talking about like sitting up on the couch. I wasn't planning on like laying in bed sleeping. I just fell asleep. So I don't sleep much at night anyway. I knew I could go live for a few hours. Anybody that was up, I know some of y'all are insomniacs, but nobody feels like they need to. Oh man, dude, That's what we do. I know the feeling. I used to travel all the time for work. I covered the whole state of Alabama, not as far down as Auburn, as Grizzly Bear is, but I would go down to Tuscaloosa. We had an office, Birmingham, Florence, Alabama, where I am, in Huntsville, Alabama, and then over in the Tri-Cities, which is actually Florence. So I would find myself working, in Montgomery too. So I'd be working at Montgomery till 5 and be on the road till 9, or worse, I'd stay overnight a lot. I was traveling 3 days a week. Then got laid off. Now I'm doing my own thing. My little brother, not he's in Birmingham too. So I used to go to Birmingham once a week, every Wednesday, like clockwork. I'm probably an hour and a half from Birmingham, easy. And I'll tell you, Grizzly Bear, hopefully this year, and I say hopefully because we're trying to plan Knives Live 2024. Hopefully we'll do that again this year. We did it in 2021 and 2022, a 24-hour stream to raise money for knife rights. It was pretty awesome. Everybody got in there. What's up, Delaney? Welcome, brother. Dude, all you can do, and I can tell you do, and just be there, because a lot of that stuff's out of our control when you're working on stuff. And I'm a big believer in, behind everybody that's successful that gets through that shit, there's a strong partner standing beside them. If you get support at home, it makes it easier. It doesn't make it easier for the person at home, but at the same time, shit comes up, and it's not something we, as the person like your husband who's taking care of business, choose to do. It's just, it comes up and you got to do it. It sucks. Hopefully he won't work too late. Damn. So far, 6:30 till 00. I wish I could do military time. For those of you who are new, who hadn't met me before, I am, I can only imagine MPG. That's tough, because I'm assuming it's one of those things, and I use crisis in a big broad net, whether it's a IT crisis, or whether it's a marketing crisis, or whether it's a physical crisis like a fire or whatever it is. I know that those things come up and they're super stressful, but if he loves what he does, they train for it, and that's what they do. Craig, the Knife Rights Marathon is coming back, brother. We will do that again. Shane and I, Lefty's a champ. Lefty pulls together the killer prize packages. Shane's real good about scheduling the 24 slots. And we were going back and forth about making it 48 hours. Delaney, my daughter's in Nashville, dude. I'm in Huntsville. So we're like 2 hours apart. So literally, my daughter is right there in Nashville. She went to school in Murfreesboro. So we will definitely, as a matter of fact, every November, I go to the Nashville Custom Knife Show. And if you haven't been, it's a great show to go to. It's put on by 51 Productions. They have it there at the Sheridan, I think it is. And that's where I picked up. I met and talked to Michael Zeba, and my buddy Dark Gravity, who's going to Blade Show with me Saturday, picked up this Michael Zeba custom production. It's Jason Knight, Blade, really artsy-fartsy, Till Valhalla, skull backspacer. Got weird ruins on the inside of the backspacer. Because he always, whenever I post this knife on Instagram, and Michael Zeba is an interesting guy. Check his website out. He does everything out of Brooklyn, New York. So this is made in Brooklyn, New York. But met him there, met Andrew Demko for the first time, met Doug Ritter for the first time. So you see everybody. When I say everybody, the big guys that are there are people like Spyderco, Hinderer. You'll have, it's kind of like it used to be the New York Custom Knife Show. And during COVID, what's up, Carco? What's up, Rob Ten Ring? Both of you guys are channel members. Welcome, welcome. Barry Eiley, welcome, my friend. Good to see you, dude. But so it was the Nashville Custom Knife or the New York Custom Knife Show, which has since come back, but that was moved down to Nashville in 2021, I think, because that's the first year I went, and it was called the New York Custom Knife Show, and it was in Nashville, and it was so successful that they did it again in 22 and 23. I went in 22 and I went in 23. So it had been there in 21. I didn't know about it then because I just kind of gotten into the game again. And so it's become a staple, meaning that this past year, Fred Medford was there and he was sitting, when you see him at the Real Blade Show, they've got a huge booth, like I don't know, a 60 by 60. And it's a huge booth. Well, in Nashville, Greg was sitting at a 10-foot table by himself. So he was very accessible. We talked, because I know Greg, but we talked for quite a while because there was nobody around his table. And I talked to Andrew Demko and his son were there. I don't have it over here. I just went in to do a skiff swap. I posted the video today, and those videos never do good, but I post them so that down the road, if somebody's looking to take a knife apart and they're looking to take a Demko Shark Cub apart, I've got a video showing how to do it, because those are the videos that I used to seek out as a YouTube consumer when I first got into knives, and still do to this day. Like, there's certain knives that I won't take apart until watching a video or two to make sure, like that Lamelia, that Right Knives Lamelia that's got the janky back spacer. And Grizzly Bear, I'm going to drive over from Huntsville. I usually go to Blade Show for 4 days. This year, I'm not going to be able to. I'm going to be lucky, and I'm hoping that Dark Gravity and I ride over Saturday early. It's about a 3.5 hour drive, but we lose an hour because you go from Central to Eastern time. Neil McKenzie, what is up? And I'm really stoked to go, but it's going to be kind of a whirlwind because for me, and I haven't had a drink in over 8 years, so I don't drink, but my favorite part of Blade Show is hanging out in the pit, which is the hotel bar, which is where everybody gathers afterwards, right? So, because during the show, you'll see people that you know from online, you'll pass them, you'll say, hey, but everybody's rushing around because there's so much to see. It's literally overwhelming. I recommend everybody go to either Texas Blade Show West, Blade Show East, the big one, which I would recommend if you have a choice. But at the pit, you bump into everybody from Tim Reeves to Love Them Knives to you name it, Tri-State and his wife Kara. You'll bump into John and Jamie from EMP EDC Knives. Everybody's just down there drinking or just hanging out, right? And it goes on for hours. So it's a Grizzly Bear. It's one of those scenes because it's an open bar. I don't feel at all because I did the whole AA thing and still, go every year to get my chip. But I don't have any issue, thank God, anymore going to bars. But that's the only kind of bar space that I'm ever required by choice to go to, because I don't go to small bars or anything like that. But it doesn't even feel that way, right? I mean, even though people are getting a little bit crazy, it just feels like an extension of the knife show because you're not supposed to do it. But last year it was kind of funny. I won't say who it was. MPG EDC, have you been? Do you guys go to West? I saw that you went to the Blade HQ opening. That's where I discovered you, meeting you on the Night's Edge live stream, and then going and checking out your page and seeing you interview a Nut and Fancy, which was by far the most poised, killer, impromptu interview. It was like he was your cousin or your uncle or something, and he may be, but if you have gone, that's awesome. If you haven't, I'd love it. Yeah, and guys, I just want to make a quick disclosure. Alcohol is fantastic. Drugs are fantastic. They just don't work for me, right? I didn't have an on-off button. So to me, it was a John problem, not an alcohol problem. So I'm not one of those people that sit there and point at people or try to talk people off bar stools and save them. I'm not about that. That's not what it's like. Um, Craig, 10-4, and there are things I kind of refer to myself as California sober, um, because there's certain things that I don't think of then that aren't problematic for me that don't cause me to do stupid shit. But yeah, Blade Show's awesome. It's coming up within, God, not long at all. We're within a month. Is it the 7th this year? Let me pull it up. Hold on. It's usually the 3rd or 4th, 7th through 9th. So it is the 7th of June through the 9th, which means I will go on the 8th. MPG EDC, that's awesome. I won't this year, but usually I plan to spend, I'll plan to spend 1,000 or I'll plan to spend 2, and I'll always end up spending twice whatever I plan to spend. So I never can manage. I joke that I'm an addict, right? I'll always be an addict. I'm a recovered addict from what I was into, which was Crown Royal and cocaine, but that's another story and a whole nother litany of things that were horrible. But I switched that addiction into knives. So I have the same compulsive habits, right? So for me, the dopamine was having the confirmation email, waiting, tracking in whatever was coming, right? I mean, most of my knives, I would say almost half of them I've given away because I started moving up, right? Like we all do. I mean, the first knife I bought from watching Blade HQ videos, which were the first YouTube videos I watched when Zach and Ben Peterson, who does NAS now, had their show. I bought the CRKT CEO, that little thin flipper knife. And then I bought a Penguin, and then I bought a Civivi Elementum. That's when the Elementum was kind of new. I'm trying to think what other knives were coming out, but I mean, I went through the whole, and I've given all these away though, but I went through almost every Civivi. Then I found Kaiser, the Vanguard series, which were all there $40 to $60 to $70 back in the day range. And that's all I'd buy. And then my first, what I would say, crazy buy was my Benchmade 940. When I bought that, I felt like I had tripped the shark because I never thought I would spend that kind of cash on a knife. Well, my buddy Dark Gravity, who's hopefully going to Blade Show with me on Saturday, he is, started talking to me because he was collecting nicer knives. And he was like, dude, you're spending so much on budget knives. And because I was still getting the Civivis, I was still getting all the stuff that are great knives, but I was just filling Apache cases. Sorry, I just whacked the mic. But when you fill Apache cases, unless you give away the Apache case and you're an addict, you don't want to have spaces in the case. So it was kind of every time I'd buy the next case, I was screwed because then I'd have to fill it. So Dark Gravity told me, just don't buy those knives. Every time you get one in your checkout bag or in your checkout cart, whatever you want to call it, think about how many of those it'll take to get your Hinder that you want. A Hinder's $425. They're a lot in stock right now. One that I actually want, I've got a 3-inch XM18 with a Skinner blade. And this is a pretty rare blade. And they've got these now in a 3.5-inch. Like my Spanto that I would love to get. And we'll go look at it in a second. But I'm not buying knives right now. But my point is, that's 5 or 6 Civivis or 5 or 6 $60 to $70 knives, right? I don't do math, so y'all can correct me. But if you don't buy as frequently, you can kind of spend the same. Not that it's any more healthy, but you can spend the same and you can buy better and better knives. And then I always swore I had no use for a fixed blade. There was no way, no how I would ever get into a fixed blade. I also swore and kidded people about slip joints. I kidded Bill Belkin of Jack Wolf Knives that I would never get in to slip joints. It wasn't my jam. When I was a kid, my dad had a lot of slip joints and used to sharpen them. And I can remember when I was like 7 or 8 years old, he told me not to touch it. He was leaving his study where he sharpened on a little Arkansas stone to go get another something to drink. And I picked up his little knife and the pin blade closed on my finger. So I cut my finger and got a freaking ass chewing. So, it just sucks. And but now I collect slip joints. I don't buy them as much anymore, but EDC fixed blades, I have jumped the shark on EDC fixed blades. And I'm not trying to promote my content, but I just finished tomorrow. The last 3 days, I've been going through one of my Apache cases, the one that used to be called the Civivi case, which I think has one Civivi in it now. But I'm going to do some regular videos after that, and then I'm going to do case 2, either my USA case or my what I call my high-end import case. And I've just asked people who watch it to let me know which one they'd rather see next, and if they like that content. Because basically, it's like I take it's called a collection dive. I have 4 cases, so instead of doing a case at a time, which are 46 knives, which will take way too much time for my brain to follow and for y'all to even want to watch. So I break each case down into 4 23-minute videos and just kind of do a rapid run through of the knives in the case. Because I did a collection of members when I first started my channel memberships. I did a collection dive for the members, but the collections changed so much over then. Yeah, Paul and I are on the trade only. Grizzly Bear Leather Crafting. I've got some Tuyas. I've actually got I've got a Caladan. I have a Big Belly, the OG Big Belly, which was my first Tuya. I had a Cebu, but I gave it away on a Friday Night Flicks. And then I'm trying to think of the name I've got. This the Colin Mason Pierre design, the one who works with Lefty and Devo Knives. It's called, hold on, let me pull it up. I hate not knowing. Tuya Knives. Tuya's been killing it, by the way. Dave Warren, who runs Tuya, who's an American, lives here. I want to share the screen. Share screen. Share screen. Let's do this. Nope, that's not better. Let's do this. All right. And guys, I'm sorry I'm not good at driving. This is an integral here, but I think this knife right here is pretty slick. And this is an SD Design Knives that Tuya partners with. That's not the one I'm talking about, but I love that. It kind of gives me PSYOP vibes, which right now, the Vosteed PSYOP is in the running for Knife of the Year for me. So I've got a Caladan, and this right here, the Mutt. The Mutt is a really cool knife. I've got this one right here. But they're doing some really neat stuff with their grinds. I've experienced a wrath at Blade Show, but when you're at a Blade Show, I'll be honest with you guys, you see so much stuff. It's so overwhelming. Because you're looking, if you're like me and you get sensory overload and your memory is, you're an atypical kind of brain person anyway, there is just so much to see. And you're looking at it so quickly that it all kind of fuses together. If you know you're there to get something or to look at something specifically, you'll have a better memory of it. But I always tell people the best experience you can probably have is if you go and you just have one day set aside to just slowly browse and watch the floor. Because that's where I got first turned on to little fixed blades. Um, Now I take that back. Lefty's shilling got me turned on to little fixed blades with the Jacob Creates Chickadee. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's so much to see there, and there's so many small makers that are so talented, and 98% of them are very humble. They'll sit there and talk to you. They are very grateful when you say, "Wow, that's a really well built knife," because they're just normal people. That just happens to be what they're good at. But yeah, I'm stoked, and there's some people I really want to talk to there, company wise, because what I've tried to do, I'll share this with y'all real quick, because not that you necessarily care, but you might, because some of them have discount codes. So what I've done is a little bit differently. I was never going to do affiliate links. I always thought that I didn't get into YouTube for that, right? Well, as I started doing it more and realized that it's also sometimes easier for people to find the link in the video. And if it's an affiliate link, as long as you disclose it, most people don't mind using it. And I always say you don't have to, it's totally up to you. But Linktree's a thing that you can subscribe to, and anytime I update it, you'd get it. But it always lives on my page. And so what I did is I went and reached out to only companies that I do business with, like GP Knives. I don't want to know how much I've spent with them, but I've got an account that I've had since I bought my first knife. So if I ever need to download it, I've got every sale that I made from them. DLT Trading, River's Edge Cutlery, Polish Custom Knives, Blade Binge. I've got a knife for sale on there. I bought probably 5. Eric, who runs it, really solid guy. Blade HQ, mixed feelings there. Long story. Ask me about it anytime. But when I first got into the hobby, and if I'm still looking for a knife that I can't find, I'll go to Blade HQ. They're a great store. I just had a couple of issues that I made a video about. Knives ship free. I've only gotten a couple of knives from them, but they're really nice. And then White Mountain Knives. I bought a ton of knives from them when I was buying knives, and I will be again. And I've got a 10% code there. And then C. Reisner, Devo. And then these are the manufacturers that I buy, that I use, that I have, right? So it's not, don't think of it as a shill page. Just think of it as where I put the stuff that I'm buying. For example, I've got an Amazon store that I wasn't going to make, but then I started playing with Amazon because I buy a lot of my stuff from Amazon, all my maintenance gear, everything for my studio. And so I made a little store that shows all the stuff that came from my order list, stuff that I bought off Amazon, because a lot of people don't realize you can get a Best Tech or a Wii Roxy at Amazon, or an Essie, or if you go and look at folding knives that I recommend, it's got everything from $30 knives to $300 knives, right? But these are all knives that I've reviewed, I've owned, or I have, and I believe in, right? So again, I don't want it to come across as a shill. I just want it to come across as I got both my Protex from GP2. I mean, they don't load you up with stickers, but they always package it well. I found that River's Edge, GP, and DLT ship usually the same day if you order it before noon. Where one of the issues I have with Blade HQ, and I understand because they're big, Knife Center, who doesn't work with YouTube channels, does the same thing. They're big, so it takes them a couple of days to process an order. And another thing, there's a company called North River Outdoors. And the way I found them is I was looking for an SNG and I couldn't find it. I got my SNG from Paul Mills, but I got this little PT207 I found it on Google from a company called North River Outdoors. Let me make sure that's right, because they did a solid that Blade HQ would have never done, and they're a small mom and pop. Yeah, they're in Virginia. So I was just searching along through Google, which, guys, sometimes can be dangerous because I also got scammed. And we've seen on Tri-State Live and other lives, these sites pop up that look legit. But these guys carry good stuff. This ProTech came up, right? So they had it in a smooth, and they had it, I'd never heard of this company, and they had it in a textured. So long story short, I wanted the textured. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I ordered the smooth. So when I got the confirmation email, I realized that I'd ordered the wrong one. And this one was about $25, $35 more. So what I did is I sent an email, like I always, like I've done to Blade HQ, expecting to get the same story, because I understand it's an inventory thing, right? I expected them to say, John, we'd like to help you out and let you send us a check for $35 since your other order went through. But it's an inventory thing. We need to cancel that order, and then you go and put in a new order for the one you want. I fully expected that, and I would have taken it. Instead, I get an email back with the link confirming that this was a knife that I wanted, because it's a Tigo 7 instead of the 206, I think, for the smooth. I was like, yeah, that's the one, but I want to make sure that, if at all possible, I'd love to just send you the difference and not have to slow my order down. They were like, you don't have to send us anything. We just want you to get the knife you want. They shipped it out that day. They basically gave me $30 that I wanted. So I went and bought another knife. I've now bought 2 more knives from them. I don't have an affiliate with them, but I do think that they are a great company. And when a company does solid customer service or keeps somebody like me satisfied with knives for going on 3 years, it's part of what I do. Is I'm not a knife cutter guy. I don't do cut tests. I don't hard use stuff. I personally don't believe in spine wax. I think spine wax are for fixed blades. I think folding knives, when I was a kid, you had a slip joint or you had a buck, and you didn't think your buck would fail, but you also weren't beating it by the spine to whack it. You were digging with it. You were doing other stuff with it, but I don't never remember whacking it on the spine. Plus, it hurts your lock geometry. But that's just, there's certain things that I'm different about. And when I find somebody with great customer service, that makes a big difference to me. It's huge. Mhm. So what did everybody carry today? The Ritter Hogue Delaney is fantastic. I don't know if you have one yet, but if you watch MC's reviews, he always does his size reviews and shows the instead of the Benchmade Griptilian, the Ritter Hogue. I have 2 full size and 1 mini. They're not in the case here, but if I show you, I've also got, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna go grab the mini Hogue because I'm gonna show you, because Doug was integral in designing when he worked for Benchmade, not the Mel Party blade, but this is very similar to the MK, the Ritter Hogue, and there's a reason for that. But I want to show you the differences that make, in my opinion, besides price, the Ritter Hogue a much better knife. The blade steel is 20 CV instead of S30V. There's very little jimping, and this is the G10 version. You've got a little jimping there, and you've got kind of a real wimpy little light spring. You can get this with the traditional blade that's going to look exactly like the Hogue that I'm going to bring over here. But this knife, when I was getting them, I bought this probably 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I want to say it was close to $200, but hold on one sec. I'm going to put up a pause screen. I'll be right back. Nah, screw that. Yeah, I'm going to let y'all walk through the woods. Tell me what you think of this. Right. So this is the little mini Ritter Hogue. I've got the full size over there too. So basically, if you look at the bodies of the knives, and I don't have a regular blade Griptilian, but even on Metal Complex's video, they're the same fucking knife, all right? Because Doug designed it. He was able to take it with him. But if you'll notice, look how much thicker the liner is on the Ritter Hogue, which is in my right hand. Look how much thicker the axis lock or bar lock studs are. Look at the texturing of the G10. Very aggressive, but it does not hurt your hand at all. Comes with a deep carry clip. I bought this deep carry clip. Oh, I didn't either because doesn't have a deep carry clip. I love this blade style, but there's no comparison, in my opinion, in the solidness. And again, 20 CV, S30V. And when I bought this knife, it was like 159. I think they're closer to 200 now, but they come in Magna Cut. It's a great knife. What's up, Roman M? What's up, Rody? You carried the Bally today. Sweet. See, I ask everybody what they carried, and then I freaking don't. I get on to something else. Let's see. Rody 7420 carried his ZR. Might be ZT or ZR 0393 Glows. Let him in Squint and Spyderco Rody. I loved the Rody. 2 Ballys. I got a cool Bally I'll show you in a second. It's not really cool. It's just kind of gimmicky, but it works like great. Grizzly Bear on the Ritter Hogue. Those are factory G-Carta. So those are now the Ritter Hogues, and I'm going to go to it right now and show y'all in a second after I read some more carries, are only available at KnifeWorks. They're a KnifeWorks exclusive. But you can get this in solid black, you can get it in orange, or you can get it in a couple of different colors of G-Carta, which this is just G10 with some coloring into it. But this is the way it comes. And it was 159 bucks, I want to say. It was like 30 or 40 bucks less expensive than my Benchmade, and Hogue has the same customer service. And everybody says, well, Benchmade has lifetime sharpening, free sharpening. Guys, I'm not a genius, but I would think when you start working at Benchmade, the first job you have is sharpening, learning to run their sharpeners, which are belts. Don't send your knives to Benchmade to get them sharpened. Send them to somebody like Clean Works Sharpenings, Kyle Coonley, or somebody in your local area. I've got a little store here, Nice and More, where a guy will sharpen, or get a fixed angle system or learn to sharpen. Don't send it, because I'm telling you, you might get a good sharpening, you might get a great sharpening. This one came with a very uneven grind. This was my first Ritter Hogue. I've got 2 full-size since, but I've straightened this grind out because I like to sharpen. I use a TS Prof 360, but before that, I used a Work Sharp, and before that, I used a Spyderco Sharp Maker, which is the one with the 2 rods that come out at an angle, and there are a couple of different ways you can set them up. And before that, and since, because I'm trying to learn to hand sharpen, one of my favorite ways to sharpen is the Work Sharp Field Sharpener. It's that little small one. I'll go grab it in a full-size Ritter Hogue. Give me 2 seconds. Enjoy the woods. Now I'm going to let y'all hang out with the puzzle. So this is my one full size Ritter Hogue, the one that MC uses for his size comparisons. Uh-oh, I got a cat in the lap. But they're exactly the same size as the Griptilian and the mini grip. They just have the one blade shape. And this is one that got sent to me for Knives Live, our first Knives Live. I've got another one that I had before this, but I wanted to show them to you guys. But let me read a few more carries. But the sharpener that I've fallen in love with again is my Work Sharp field sharpener, because it's got an angle guide where you can literally, I can't show you because Chippy's there, but you can literally set it and make sure you don't have light. And it's really easy to learn to hand sharpen. I apologize for Chippy. Those of you will be around. Let's see. Where is Chippy? Hey, Tippy. Tippy. I want to be mean to her, but at the same time, I'm like, great price. Because the thing about Griptilians is you can get any scales you want, right? And that's awesome. Welcome back, MPG EDC. But yeah, Tippy's about to jump over to her where she eats. But she usually uses her back legs to clear knives off, because she does it. You know how cats, you've seen the videos where they like to paw shit off? She likes that too. She likes catching and stacking up chipmunks and baby birds and baby rabbits. And she likes knocking my knives off tables. And she loves showing up during reviews. So Rob, welcome, brother. His EDC is the Pina Mula, an EMP Nimble, and a Devo Mash. All bangers. I've got the Nimble and the Mash. The only one I don't have is the Mula. They do. They want your attention. You know, cats are just different. Ron, it's good to see you, buddy. Yeah, Chippy gives, I mean, zero fucks given. I'll show you all some pictures in a second, because I've got this neighbor has either moved in or moved out, and there's this yellow cat that has a pink collar on, and Chippy's a chick, or so we think. Yeah, the Benchmade is acid test, kids, except it's, if I'm not mistaken, the Benchmade's angles, check yours, because mine are 20 degrees. The guides are 20 degrees on this one. And then you've got a little strop here and a ceramic rod that's got a bunch of different settings for it. And then you got this little serration. And this thing's like, I want to say $25 on Amazon. I've got it on my store. And they even make a little case for it. That's pretty cool. But let me find some more carries and get everybody. All right, Rob 10 had the Cold Steel Airlight and the Juice S2. Sweet. Yeah, Rob, I keep it in my shoulder bag when I go hiking. It's the one I always take with me camping, even though I rarely need it, because I've got like a freaking pack like this full of knives. I carry a lot of these different VanQuest packs. I don't carry a pocket EDC pack. Like, you know, a lot of people carry their EDC wallets and stuff like that. I just keep a slip joint in my left pocket, flipper in my right pocket, and then in my back pocket, I keep a, that's just some miscellaneous shit. This is kind of my go-to bag. It's got fire starting stuff. It's got a scalpel. It's got Band-Aids. Not really tourniquet stuff, not hardcore first aid stuff, but stupid John shit. That's why I've got it here, because I've got my Band-Aid dispenser. Everybody needs one. Yeah, the Griptilians are well worth it. Paul, you will not believe the sharpness. I'll show you something. I've got 3 different Jacob Creates chickadees. This is one I got from Kevin that he just gotten back from Kyle Coonley. And I don't know if y'all can see. I want you to look at the edge on that Magna Cut, and then I'm going to cut with them. And Jacob, who is a stud, sharpened the 20 CV, and then I resharpened it. And I've got an S90V full flat that's got Jacob's edge on it. But when you run all 3 of these through paper, they all have the same blade thickness and pretty much the same geometry, this guy is next level sharp. If y'all saw all the cut up paper, because when I'm watching live streams, a lot of times I'll just lurk and listen to them, and I'll either be sharpening a knife or writing down ideas, doing stupid shit like that. But I always will have an Amazon box or a box close to me that's open, and I'm either cutting my coupon books up in it. I'll just therapeutically slice. But if you looked around me right now, I really need to do some therapeutic sweeping because I've got way too much paper around me. Night, Craig. Have a good one, buddy. What is up, Luke? Good to see you, brother. Hogue is definitely killing Bitchmade. I saw a really good video today with Marine X. If y'all have not watched it, I have mad respect for Marine X. I thought it was very insightful. It was very investigative. He pulled all the court documents. He talked to the Montana Knife Company people to get their side of the story. Very well done. And it just, to me, sounds fucking bully shitty. That's just my personal opinion. It is what it is. But we're going to go to that video. And I'm going to show it to you guys. Okay, this is Avivi Lazar, which is a great little Elijah Isham design. Rest in peace. I do the same thing, acid test kids. I don't do it as much anymore because I'm always now recording content. Even though I don't do any editing, I still have to get my thoughts together because I don't write scripts and I don't do cuts. I really need to up my game. I've got to figure a way. For some reason, StreamYard, I've got the middle tier, which is like $30 a month, and it jumps up to like 60 to get 1080p. Because I'd like to do videos where I could talk, start a video and be like, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I want to go like this and go yada 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 yada, and then be able to add that, and maybe then I don't know. To me but I have to consider that I'm atypical brained, right? Because to me that would be more distracting than just a tabletop down showing a knife, because that's what I used to get out of it, right? Was looking at the knife, seeing what the knife was, seeing how it fit, what it compared to. I started to try to throw a Sharpie into my size comparisons because I know everybody doesn't have a bug out. Everybody doesn't have a PM2. Rody 7420 was carrying a ZT or talked to somebody about one. The Bally in the backpack for Rody. Yeah, I'm gonna grab this other case and set it below me because this is actually not the case that was in the video series that'll go live, the last one tomorrow. But I'll just show it to you here in a second. All right, that's where we started. I already read Rody's carry. Let's see. We talked about the scales. Yeah, the mini Ritter RSK to me is better for my hand than the full size, but I love the full size because it's a great beat on knife. It's very, very strong. Very Lily carried the penguin tie with the fresh hollow grind. Sweet. The Vosti, the hedgehog is great. That's the second slip joint I ever bought, and I swore I'd never get a slip joint. So one night about 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't remember doing it. Again, I'm a sober guy for all practical purposes, but I do take Ambien to sleep. But I ordered an Ohio River Jack, and I used Lefty 10, his code. I didn't have a channel at the time, or maybe I did. Maybe I just started. But I ordered that, and before it even came, I went back to traditional pocket knives and ordered the Hedgehog, the regular carbon fiber, the OG one. It was just didn't really look like carbon fiber because I love the hollow grind. It's such a great knife. Oh, I know I'm going backwards and you made it back, but that's awesome. Paul Mills carrying the mini FSD. And dude, it's got to feel good to have that knife in your hands and your transparent knives, rebladed bug out. Dude, that's a great knife. The mini FSD was like Paul delivering a labor of love, wasn't it, buddy? The RC Guru is carrying a CJRB Prado. Great knife. CJRB's been killing it, and I've been I'm trying to think the pyrite I've had and given away in the last 4 months. A Thai pyrite, the CJRB, the one that's a little bit bigger than the pyrite and has a sheep's footy blade. Hold on a second. Let me go look here. Let's because I had the mini pyrite, the regular OG Thai pyrite, and then two, a G10 and a micarta, what they call the pyrite cleaver. They were all button locks. None of them had lock failure, but it was really more sheep's footy. But there was a bigger version when it first came out. Let me see if I can share the screen. Hold on. Let's see. No, I don't want you sending me notifications. It was not, it looked like this, but it wasn't that. Can y'all see that? I hate pop-ups. I mean, CGRB, you're killing me with the pop-up that I can't find out how to close. That black little hidden X. That's a cool little thing. I forget what they call it. It's tiny, tiny, tiny. They've got now the Bowie Pyrite. I've got a link if y'all are into CGRBs. But what I wanted to show you, shop, type, folding. It was called, this is the new Bowie Pyrite. I thought it was pretty cool. But the one, the Prado is sweet. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the Benchmade Tagged Out. And guys, AR RPM 9 is great steel. I think they were truly confused about the way metallurgy works. I had one of these little guys here that I gave away. It's a great knife in aluminum for $42. Great button lock action. What was it? It wasn't a frac. I've had a Hector. I did a review on that. I've got reviews on all the knives I'm showing you guys, but I bought one of these at Amazon. It's a great knife. I never had the Warncliffe Pyrite, except I had the Mini. I had the Cleaver, which is, we'll get to that one in a second. I had that knife, the Tigress. It's a big knife. I'm looking for a specific knife. The Malaya I had, it's a great knife. What's that thing called? This one right here, the Echo. I had the Echo in my Carta. So this is very much like a pyrite It is very pyrite-esque, so to speak. That's the one I had, the G10, but it's just got a little bit longer blade. They have terrible pictures, by the way, and I'm all up in the space of it. Whoops. So that's a really good knife too, and these guys are all available on Amazon. CGR Beast has an Amazon store. If you're an Amazon Prime member like I am, I buy a lot of my EDC stuff from there. Let's see. Delaney, you're gonna love the Hogue. Let's go to Knife Works, because a lot of y'all might not know. That's one of the things that I've talked to Doug about, but he's such a loyal guy. He had the relationship with Knife Works as an exclusive when they started, and so they're the only ones that sell. And they're really nice people. They're over in Louisiana. They're one state over. I'd like one of the fixed blades. So, guys, let's talk about this. This one's out of stock right now. But talk about value. That's a mini in MagnaCut for $160. Let's find one in stock. That's an auto. That's an auto. All right. So here's a full size 3.4 inch blade, which is this one right here. MagnaCut $179.95. Now, in that same vein, this one's discontinued and out of stock. Hold on. Hold on, guys. I'll show you that it's a better value. I don't want the mini, I want the full size. So JG10, that's a Mel Pardue blade, is $216. It's out of stock, but they still have the price. And it is M4. Let's see. Try to find something that's MagnaCut. No hate here, but I wouldn't buy my knives at REI. I'm looking for a Griptilian. Oh well. Anyways, the Ritter Hogue, in my opinion, and I've got them both, is a better knife than the Benchmade. In my opinion, that particular knife. Yeah, that's the deal. Shipping is something, and White River Knives doesn't charge shipping, and White River Knives gives me 10% off. So, you know, I do it the way, and I'm an addict, so keep that in mind. When I wake up, I always go to Blade Binge first, used to be Knife Sale, because I want to see what people have traded in, right? Then I go to River's Edge Cutlery. I've got all these bookmarked. GP Knives. I go to DLT. I go to Blade HQ just to see. I go to Knife Ship Free. I'll go to Tools for Gents and I'll look around, Polish custom knives. Rarely buy anything there. I go to E-Knives sometimes. I'll go to Smoky Mountain Knife Works every now and then when I was in my slip joint phase. But yeah, I had it bad. I had it very bad. I think I got everybody's carry. I think so. I'm not sure. I'm going up and I'm missing everything down at the bottom because, guys, I'm slow. I'm a slow reader, probably because I don't have my reading glasses on. That might help. All right, let's get back to the future, the present. All right, I'm down at the bottom. What did I miss? What did I miss? Recon One is great. I like them too. I get their emails. Rob, the Ritter micro carbon fiber Magnum Cut Mini. Stonehand's the only place you'll find it, and the place that it lives is Knife Works, where we just were. It's I'll throw it up here for you. They're in Louisiana. They're a smaller store. I mean, they're smaller than the big stores, but they're probably bigger than River's Edge Cutlery. But that's where you can go, and they've got them in stock, and it's the only place that they'll be in stock, right? Unless they're at Blade Binge or on Reddit. I don't buy knives off Reddit. My friend Scotch and Things buys a lot of knives. He bought me the knife I'm carrying today from a guy he knew on Facebook, the Strider Crosshatch SNG. It's a sweet knife. On washers, just a good tool, good cutter. It's got a blade steel that I'd never heard of before. Like PDS1. Thanks, Mind to Milton. Ron, let me tell you, yes, I do have a Slim Itty. And mine started out a little stiff too before I broke it in because it is on bearings. I put skiffs in mine. That's not what made it smoother. It's just using it because mine had a little bit of lock stick when I first got it, as did my Strider. But after using them, like flicking them a few hundred times, as I fail it under the, I do better right here. But it'll get better. Now, this is not on washers. Mine is on bearings. And I did put skiffs in because I have a compatible set. But you don't need skiffs. You just need to give it a little time. Maybe the pivot's a T. I think it's a, hold on a second. I think it's a T20 or T25. So the pivot on the Slim Midi is a T30. So I got some little Weehaw T30 bits. And it could be that if you don't have a T30, you'll want it to adjust your Slim Midi. But it could just be if it's stiff and you don't have any lock rock, it's possible that it's just tightened down a little bit. Or if it's new, mine started off super stiff. I can remember going to Blade Show and handling Jared's and thinking, man, Jared's feels so much better than mine. And now mine feels every bit as smooth as Jared's did. This is the little DLT exclusive in S90V. That's one of the things that DLT has their Medfords made in S90V. It's probably my favorite Medford. It is my favorite Medford. The only thing I hate about it, and I've been working with them and I've got it resolved, but for $45, they will now ship out a clip if you'll sign that you'll take liability. It doesn't void your warranty, just if you screw it up, because Medford clips you have to take the knife apart, which is very easy. I mean, these knives come apart if you get a T30, and I think the body screws are T10s, but it's just 2 slabs of titanium, a couple of steel washers on the titanium, and the 2 bearings. It comes with stainless steel bearings, but I put, again, ceramic skiffs in it. But the pocket clip does not screw. It's not machined. It doesn't have threads machined into the titanium. You've got little bolts, and you've got a little machined area on the inside of the scale that the little thin bolt sits in. So you've got to have the scale off. You've got to hold the bolt with your finger when you back out this clip screw to switch out the clip. But this clip just doesn't feel like it gives it enough retention. And it's the same clip that's on the full-size Mini Marauder, which is a thick beast, right? Now, this one's on washers. It's a little not as great an action. I don't know why they do this one on washers, but it works fine. And then the infraction that I've got's got the same clip. So my only gripe is I think the clips could be beefed up a little bit, but they make a replacement clip that is the same pattern that is thicker. And this was my first and maybe my favorite Medford. If this was in the slim style, I love the blade on that, the infraction. I love the choil. It fits my hand perfectly. It's on washers. It's also got a flipper tab if you're into that. Uh-oh. I'm more of a middle finger flick guy. But again, same clip. And that's my only gripe about them. But all the Medfords have this wonky pivot. And I called them because I wasn't sure, because it didn't even really look like a Torx to me. And the guy in the shop was super nice. Focus. So that's just a T30. And you can tighten it if it ever gets loose by hand. There's not much to it. Dead nuts. Oops. So yeah, it might be that it's stiff because it's a little bit tight. You can go to Amazon. I've got 2 sets of T30s. I didn't get Weehaws first, but Weehaws are what I would get with. Or they've got other T30 bits, like $6. The 187 is nice too, Paul. It reminds me of the infraction a little bit, but I know it's bigger. The infraction, my buddy A to Z EDC, he says this knife's too small for him, which I find hard to believe because our hands are about the same size. His are a little bit thicker. But it's a great knife. I used to be more into, again, the only advice I can give to people is to keep an open mind about what you're collecting, right? Because you'll never know. It'll change, and that's a good thing. Nothing wrong with having your style change. But Vosteed is currently killing it. They sent this for me to check out, and this is called the Terra Auris or something. I can't pronounce it. Terra Auris or Terra Urus or Terrasaurus. But it is G10, 14C. It's got a thumb disc. Perfectly centered. The body reminds me just of the milling, kind of a 940. But I thought the Dachshund, which is their titanium, had the best detent of any bar lock. And this little knife, which is much more economical, has the same snappy detent. Very, very sharp. You've got this little harpoon on the blade. I don't know if you can see that. You've got that poon right there. And with the thumb disc, which stays on with the T6, it's not in the sharpening path, but I took it off when I put an edge on it because I put 17-degree edges on mine. But it just holds your finger perfectly. You've got this forward choil where your finger rests right here. And it's also being caught on that harpoon. I think this is a U. One of the CEOs, one of the young owners, he designed this knife. And after trying out my buddy Psyop, which I'm telling you guys, with that top liner lock, the Psyop is probably right now, without a doubt, my knife of the year. Let me see if I can find it. In case you guys haven't seen it. My video goes live the day after tomorrow, my review of it. I've had my collection videos running the first case. So this is the Psyop. And they've got the two black versions still in stock. And these are titanium and L-Max. And the top liner lock is not a button lock. It's like a smock. It is an actual liner lock. Whoops. Why is it not letting me click on that picture? Oh, there it is. Can y'all see that? All right. Let me get back to it. So you've got this liner lock, just like you would a regular liner lock, but the button is bolted and I guess attached right here to that liner. So you just push the button, and instead of it being a plunge lock, you have detent because it's a regular liner lock. It's got a detent ball, and you've got detent. And it's L-Max, and it's titanium, like around $229. Front flipper with a great deployment hole. It is hard to beat. The one I tried out, the one my buddy got, is this one right here, the raw tie. That's my favorite. And one thing to be aware of is they make it in a textured handle and they make it in a smooth handle. The smooth handles are contoured. These are flat, but they are, you've got your milling around the side, but they're flat scales. So when you look at these, anytime you go to Vosti's website, because I've got an affiliate link there too, but know that they ship from New York. So they've got domestic. So when you look here, you'll see that US customers are low stock on the two blacks. There's no stock on the non-US. But that other knife that I was just showing you, and this also has the top lock. I've not tried that knife, but this one right here is a Talaris. Where's that white one? Let's go back one page. How would you pronounce that? Talaris? Talaris. It's like there's a UR. Crispy Critter, what is up, brother? Which one, Rob? You have the top lock one? Dude, I'm telling you, Vosti, that's one of the booths that I'm looking forward to going to because they're killing it. They're doing really, really good stuff with their designs. I just think they're trying things that other companies maybe aren't trying, right? And to me, that's cool. Um, I like to see people do things that are a little bit out of the norm. Like I was really stoked to see Kunwu and what they do. Kunwu, I think, comes out if they would stay away from the bar style lock, their X lock, which I hate. I have two of them. I've actually talked to them about offering the Django or the Django in a frame lock. And they're like, well, it's an X lock knife. I was like, I know, but you've got the towel, the big towel, and the X towel, and y'all do frame locks better than anybody that I've experienced. And I mean, they have the most lifeless bar lock compared to Vosteed. But even the little Riot, which at first, the first generation that didn't have a lock, I wasn't really interested in, but it's just something different that just makes me, I think that's what gravitates me towards knives that grow on me, right? So when it first came out, I had no interest in it. My buddy A to Z got one of the first ones, and he sent it to Joe, Lancelot Leather, and he got the first leather slip that Joe makes for these. My buddy A to Z's knife was the model, but at the time they didn't have the lock. So when the Mini came out, and I think this is an L Max too. It's not an M4. Yeah, and this one's an L Max, which is a better EDC steel in my opinion. And I really enjoy it because it's different, right? And then I never liked out the front knives. The first out the front I got was the QS or the EMP EDC Pulse because I'm a huge fan of EMP EDC. I'm trying to think what I don't have. I don't have a Nimble Warncliffe, and I don't have, that may be it. I don't have a V2 thick boy. But then, have y'all seen the Max Ace Neptune in SD Magic steel that's got a Sanmai treatment that brings it, I don't know if you can see the line at the blade down around about 1/4 inch above where the bevel is. If you can see that line in the blade steel, that's Sanmai wrap. So this knife is aluminum. It's got textured inlays. It's got a very strong spring. I fired it probably 2,000 times now, and it hadn't failed once. They have it in a dagger and a serrated dagger, but I wanted the drop point. Whoops. It's super slicey, even though it's got a taller grind, right? $108. And you can buy these on Max Ace's website. If they're out, they sold out of the black ones, and then about 2 weeks later on Instagram, they had the raw ones in stock. I'll show them to you guys. I don't have any affiliations with those guys yet, and I don't think they do affiliations, but just so you know, they do make really good knives, and they are a very good value for what they are. They've got an out the front that's a lot more expensive than MagnaCut. They've got this one here for $230, which is still, in my opinion, a great price for an out the front. And you get MagnaCut, carbon fiber, titanium, and you can choose a Tonto blade, a dagger blade, or a serrated dagger. But the Neptune, make sure you guys are seeing this. Whoops. The Neptune is $108. So there are 20 in stock of the, what's the X04? 13 is the stock of the C. So the A and the C are in stock. So the A is the drop point. So the 20 drop point, $108 Neptunes, which are what I have. That's the drop point. Looks kind of Tanto-y, but it's a drop point. And then the 13 are serrated. And then they had the silver handles, which will come back in stock. So they got these in stock in black now. I don't know. They don't have a picture of it there. Because that's what the serrated looks like. It's not fully serrated. It's just serrated on half the blade. And then the dagger's full flat. But those will be back in stock. If y'all like out the fronts and you're looking for an inexpensive out the front to get you started that's quality, I would say Max Ace does it pretty well. I've also got one of their button locks. I don't have it over here. The Babylon, which is fantastic. And I've got their Beetle S, which is a slip joint, which is the thinnest knife that I've got in my collection. Thinnest blade stock, I guess I'd call it. I had a Meerkat. Somebody wanted a couple of weeks ago. That's S90V for 158 bucks. White Mountain Knives has them for like 140 something. They're S90V, really good little knife. And then I have a Black Mira still, which I think last year it was my value knife of the year, but I think it's a fantastic knife. It's an M390. Are y'all still seeing these knives? Because sometimes I'll be going and I won't be showing y'all shit. And that sucks. So there's the Beetle S. So that's the slip joint I've got. It's probably the thinnest blade stock I've ever seen. I've got this one right here. That shows you how thin it is. But I'm wanting to show you the Black Mira because it would be my most recommendable bang for buck at 142 bucks. That's the Babylon. I've got a titanium version 1 of these. Great knife. Probably one of the smoothest button locks. I'm jumping around and I'm missing the chat. I'm going to find this one knife if it kills me. All right, they don't have it in stock or they're not having it on their page anymore. So that was the Black Mira right there. It was 148 bucks in carbon fiber, 142 in raw tie. And that's one of the problems that I have with Blade HQ. I won't go into detail, but I did a video on it. Watch one of my old Black Mira videos, and my gripe is displayed for all to hear. I think it was real shady. But long story short, they have knives that other people don't have. They offered me an affiliate link. I was happy to be able to put it in video descriptions because before I always just put the name of where I bought the knife, which is what I'll continue to do. But the affiliate links do help the channel. And what I did, because I don't know how to do the YouTube thing like I should, because I'm a digital marketer by trade. I mean, that's my job. But for some reason, when it comes to my own stuff, I don't do it like I should. But I think if you go to my about, I've got all my links here, and I've got to add I've got to add a couple. I've got to add the River's Edge Cutlery and stuff like that. So that's where I think the affiliate links live. And then on videos, anytime you go to them, sometime there won't be a link, like if it's a bunch of knives, but usually there will be a link to the knife. For example, on the raccoon, in the description, I've got it in stock on sale at Blade HQ with the link, and then a Vosteed link if you wanted to go there. Or you can just Google it, right? You can totally go away. You don't have to use those links at all. Those links are there as a convenience and as a way for, if somebody wants to and they're going to buy a knife, they can help the channel while they do it. Because I do get a percentage of it. And it doesn't cost you anymore. But again, I'm big into Googling stuff too, so no harm, no foul. Just know that they're there, and they used to not be there. I added them because it's just something I felt like I needed to do. Take care, Grizzly Bear. We need to meet, buddy. Hopefully, did you say you were or you weren't going to be able to go to Blade Show to Atlanta? If not, I'll hopefully see you in Nashville. Rhodey, no. And it's interesting. I don't know if Max Ace is assembling them here, but my understanding is that Best Tech assembled these for John. I don't know if the import laws changed. I know that there are a lot of overseas companies, like several overseas companies that are shipping OTFs into the States. I don't, that'd be a great thing to talk to Doug Ritter about. Oh, they listed as folders. Now, mine got hung up in customs. It took me about 60 days to get mine. Now, their customer service was super nice. They said, look, that whole lot's in customs, but you'll get it. And I did. And the box had not been opened. The envelope, they shipped it in a silver envelope, and it looked like it had been through a war. And it had a sticker on it that showed that it had been opened. So they did open it in customs and I guess inspect it, and it came through. So yeah, it stayed in New York for a while. Usually they take 3 weeks to ship. Mine took about, they do. I mean, Delaney, has yours ever failed, come off the track? Mine never has. I mean, never. True, but a lot of times, Rhodey, if I would think that customs is probably pretty crooked and would probably walk off with a lot of stuff like that. Somebody would. If they could seize a bunch of shit, they could sell it somewhere else. No acid test, kids. It's all relative, buddy. You're not poor at all. What it means is it's just you value different stuff, right? I never thought I'd pay more than $100. The first OTF I bought from St. Nick's Knives was a little mini for about $49. It looked like a Microtech, but it was just your basic Chinese knife. I don't even think it had a brand name, and it would always come off track. And that's before I knew how to pull it back onto track. But no, man, I never spent over $50. Probably the first. Yeah. And, I don't know if y'all know this, but EMP EDC got their start by buying parts from a company called Slender Man, who was having terrible, terrible customer service issues. And John knew he could put them together right. And that's how he started. Yes, lightnings are good. Yeah, and serrations, I've watched Jared talk about it a lot because I do turn to him for sharpening. But for example, on this little work sharp, just having a little semi-round ceramic stone, you can really get into serrations. Now, I'm not a serration guy, but if we think about it, I think about a dagger as a Slurpee saver, right? As a fleshy piercer. So are you really going to be sharpening it a lot if you're using it for things like that? Stick around, acid test, kids. Not tonight, but you stick around my channel. Most of everything I have gets given away. Brody, have a good night, buddy. Thanks for staying up late. Yeah, the new ones, Paul, are NS90V. My Black Mirror is N390, and the Meerkat that I gave away, the members giveaway a couple weeks ago, was S90V. Work Knife Balance, what is up, brother? I'm going to be there Saturday. Dark Gravity and I go for 4 days. This year, I've been unemployed. I'm not really buying anything, but I'm still going. And my buddy Dark Gravity is such a good husband. He doesn't like to leave his wife to where she has to take care of anything by herself. So we're going to drive over there early Saturday morning and drive back Saturday night. But the last 2 years I've been there, and I'm dying that I'm not going to be able to hang out in the pit, even though I don't drink. Dude, I'm glad you did, buddy. And if y'all aren't subbed to Work Knife Balance, I'm going to pull him up because he's got a great channel. He had a live earlier tonight, I think. And Work Knife, this was just an absolute random. I was telling these guys I fell asleep this afternoon for like 5, 6 hours, which for me is a shitload of sleep. I don't sleep usually more than 4 hours a night. I just don't need it. It's for mere mortals. I think it's overrated. But that's where Work Knife Balance is, guys. He does a great job. Has some really engaging lives. If you're not following him, go give him a little bit of sub love. What's up, Pork? Dude, this isn't TikTok, but I'll tell you, if I was not afraid of their terms of service and I didn't have any shame in my game, I would be over in TikTok doing live battles, battling people for galaxies and corgis and roses and heart hands and all that other stuff. Love you, brother. Delaney, you seem like a decent guy. I'll make you a moderator, but with being a moderator, and I know that's not what you're asking, you're thinking that guy. See, I don't have a problem with Pork YT because he may be just somebody in here trolling a little bit, or he may be looking for money, which nobody give him money because we don't do that around here. And see, when you ask a bunch of times, it gets spammy and people don't like that. So you'll go to timeout for just a little while and you'll think about it. It's only 5 minutes. And then you can come back. We're all from poor families, dude. Money's tight. I hadn't worked in a while. Life is hard. We're all on your side. Thank you, Paul Mills. I haven't checked. I was like at where are we? We were at 99. We were like 7 away, but they'll go back down. So I won't even count it till I'm at 10,000, probably 100. If I even get there, because YouTube does weird stuff with your counts. But yeah, thank you. I was surprised that anybody watched what I did, and just absolutely grateful for every one of you guys, gals, and other that come in here to check it out. So we're right at 10K. It says, let's see what that means. 10,003 subs, and y'all are here for the live. I won't post it because they'll probably come back down. But we're at 10,003, guys. Thank each and every one of you who come and sub to the channel. I'll tell you what's totally. I'm just a poor boy, dude. I stay in the negative. When I had a great job and I was making great money, I was always knife poor because I would just buy shit I liked, right? I mean, I was just it got crazy. Thank you guys again. I won't really count it till it gets up there because YouTube does take subs away from time to time. But I'm absolutely stoked, and most of the people. What's weird about me and my channel, I don't get a lot of views because the way I grew my channel was through a lot of shorts. So I have probably 50-50 if you look at my analytics that watch shorts versus that watch full content. So I'm lucky to get 150 views on a video, which I'm happy. I mean, that one person watches it, right? I mean, it's literally, to me, it blows me away. But my shorts have been what has helped my channel grow in such a short amount of time. But I'm still very grateful for that. But hopefully I'll get better at my reviews. I'll get some kind of different angle or something. I just think it works fine with an iPhone. It really seems to, for me at least. Because the more technology I have, it's the same when I played guitar. The more effects I have, the more problem I'm out. Woodstock, Georgia, Crispy Critter? Or Woodstock, New York? Are you out there where Jimi Hendrix blew the Star Spangled Banner out and changed the world with his swagger? Or are you in Woodstock, Georgia, close to me? I've been to Woodstock, Georgia, but I've never. Hey, Delaney, it's the same thing. It's each day, one day at a time, buddy. That's all it is. I've been sober today, and it's a blessing. I hope I'm also sober tomorrow, and I hope you stay sober too, buddy. Just would. Crispy Critter, you know the emoji I'd send you right now. What's up, Just Nate? Good to see you, channel member, brother. And Crispy Critter's a channel member. I haven't been greeting you guys the way I should because it's late. I'm jacked up on coffee now. I'm getting ready to drink my second one, which means I'll be up. I've got to do check this out. And this is my squirrel brain. So today I filmed a video, which I don't ever expect people to watch my disassembly videos. I put those up there because I know they're searchable, and those are the kind of videos that used to help me a lot. But I got into my shark cub today, and the shark cub is the Demco, and the one that I got, I picked up from Andrew Demco at the Nashville Custom Knife Show right after they came out. It has kind of a custom finish on it, but it was still the same. I think it was $199, 20 CV. Anyway, I've not taken the knife apart at all. So today, can y'all see that? Yeah. All right. So today, and I'm just going to fast forward to it. Oh no, I don't want that. I was going to put some skiffs in it. And when I took it apart, I was amazed to learn. Look what's in it. Standoffs. Your shark lock simply actuates on this spring. So you can see how it's got it's got skiffs, dude. I mean, these are 6mm, 1mm 19 ball. And this knife from Demco came with skiffs. Now, the caveat is there's a 1 to 5% chance that I did take it apart. And amen, brother. Me too. But I don't think I did, because the reason I don't think I did is I even mentioned in the video, I always overlube everything knife wise, right? Overlube everything. So I'll put too much KPL in there. You always see it. This knife had very little lube in it. So I know I didn't put those skiffs in it, which what I meant is after I finished the video tonight, the live, I'm going to put skiffs. Todd Carr, been around for 11 months. That is awesome, dude. Thank you, buddy. Have y'all tried the Flytanium Arcade or heard of the Flytanium Arcade? Let's give a little 11-month love. I'm gonna go with the I've got to come up with a good sound effect, guys, for that. But the Arcade is the first knife. It's the Flytanium that licensed the Shark Lock. And I talked to Andrew when I was in Nashville. And asked him about it. And I said, "You've got to tell me that this is made in the same factory because it's in Taiwan and the locks look identical." This is an aluminum handled knife. It ships with 2 G10 inserts. I added some titanium inserts. They have Ultim inserts. It's an S35 VN blade. If you hold this up to a Demco 20.5, even though it doesn't have the slot, their profiles look almost identical. This one has smoother corners. Whoops. But I'm going to do a skiff upgrade with those 19 balls in this because all of my other Demcos came with steel balls. So if I open this one up and it's got skiffs in it, well, that's just a great thing for Demco knives that they're using a solid USA made bearing in their knives. Dan Steele, channel member, what is up, brother? Welcome, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Stone Hands, if you have desire for sobriety, congratulations. You'll get there. Stay safe. You know, like I say, I don't ever blame substances or alcohol. It was just me. I didn't have the control, you know, never did. I used it kind of to self-medicate. And I thought, because I kicked a major hinderer a day or hinderer every day and a half, 13-year opiate addiction when nobody knew I had it. I mean, the only time he's in timeout or then he left. But anybody, Crispy Critter, thank you, brother. You guys are awesome. Dude, it's all good, buddy. It is all good. Positive things are people like you, my friend. I'll tell you, and I was having a conversation last night and today, helping a couple people out that, you know, I started this whole thing not having a channel, but watching knife content during COVID because I liked the community. I liked the knives. I didn't really know why I was getting into it because before that, I was buying all kinds of guitar effects and stuff because that's one of my hobbies. Before that, it was skateboards. With ADHD, you bounce around and you do tons of different stuff. This is for Crispy Critter, channel member and super chatter. I don't like that effect. I've got to find a better one. Most of the ones that I've got on here are like, I do have one that I call my Cole voice. Let me find it. Does this give me more of a broadcast sound? This is what I call my Cole voice. But I like the more wacky effects. This is probably my favorite.
All carry-on items should now be stored securely in the overhead or under the seat.
And when I'm on with Pocket Metal and I do that, it drives him crazy. Delaney, this community saved my life. And I don't mean that in a way that I was going to self-delete or anything like that, but it was just kind of a shitty time where there wasn't a lot going on. We were all in lockdown. Thank you, Paul, to a successful trade. Dude, we will make one. We will make one. You've got bangers I want. And it's just, you know me, I'm a hoarder. We're both hoarders. We've talked about that in our past trades. It just takes us a little time. Somebody needs to grab this PMP Tianto. That's also a trade trade bait if anybody's looking for a folding shovel. I know you can't hear me when I turn around, so that sucks. Thank you, Paul. Whoops. I thought I was on a different. I've got to find a festive sound because it'd be mean to do an explosion and it'd be a laser sword or. I'll find something cool because I had a drum. That sounds kind of stupid. Oh, are they, dude? Let me turn them down. Tell me if this is better. And I'm not going to be doing them anymore because I know they drive people crazy. Was that louder or was that quieter? You want to see the folding shovel, Delaney? Have y'all seen the PMP Tianto? This is by far the most stupid, not stupid, reckless. Carco, I will take it off NAF sale, and this thing is brand new. It was super cool. I saw MC's review of it, and I couldn't pass it up when they hit White Mountain, so I used my 10% discount and grabbed it. And if Satu could probably do the deed on it. It's M390. Cut your fingers off sharp. Comes with a little certificate of authenticity. Great knife. I don't put a lot of use into it. It's great to see you, Carco channel member. Carco is the reason that I have this grail with Brother Pro X's custom scales. Check that sexy beast out. That is the most sexy knife in my collection, without a doubt. I love it. It's the Evo 3.0. It will cut your nail in half if you're not careful. It's horizontal, so I'm not in trouble. But if I was doing that, I love the pear-shaped opening hole, ergos. And Carco's got first right. If I were ever to let it go, which I'd let it go back to him, but I'm never going to sell it. It's an awesome knife. But yeah, the Chianto is here, my friend. But I don't know what drove me to buy it. It was, I like MC. And when I don't know him, but when I first got into knives, I watched his content. I like his content. He gets crazy stuff. And when he got that in, it was just Carco has a killer collection, Paul. A lot of you guys have awesome, awesome collections. And we do as time goes on. That's what I always tell people when people say, how could you spend that for a knife? Guys, I'm an old dude. So like my kid's out of college. I had a really, really good job at the time. I do now doing my own thing, doing consulting and working with an agency, but it's just a long game, not a short game, right? But it's just what you choose to do at different stages. It's all relative, right? So for somebody like Jason Momoa, Aquaman, he's a huge, huge knife dude. He lives in Nashville, and Delaney, that's exactly how I started, buddy. I had 2 cases full of $30 to $50 knives, and that's because I was just always trying to order another knife. I was just kind of into it, and then my buddy Dark Gravity said, if you'll get to and I didn't do it right away. It took me a little time to process it, but if I would hold off on 6 or 7 of those budget knives, I could buy a premium knife, right? Because it's kind of a trade-off. Now, you have to hold off on 10 to get something like an Oz or a Koenig or a SPK, but a Hinder is $425. A Medford, they're in the, on the secondary, you can pick those up for the same type of money. Buying them new, you can pick them up, if I'm not mistaken, for $600, $550. Or a Chris Reeves, just a really well-made boutique type of knife that forever I thought was out of my reach. I didn't think I'd ever own some of the knives I own, but it was just changing what I was spending the money on in my knife addiction, because that's something that I've found. I've stayed for the people because some of the most amazing humans I've met through this community, and I've met them in real life and have become, lifelong friends with them. But addiction is an underlying struggle that I think a pretty fair number of enthusiasts, I will say, have either currently battled with or have battled with. And I think we are our own best support group. I think, um, I know we used to be in Grateful Panic's live streams long, long time ago, that he saved people's lives. I mean, I've watched it happen. I've seen people, just in bad places, and it does happen, right? And sometimes more important than money or knives are just being there to care, to let somebody know that they've got worth, right? I never went collection wise, but I did. I do love my pew pews, and that's just a totally different area, right? So I think, and I think it's a valid argument, but a lot of people approach me in my comments because I do try to read them all, even though I'm the worst probably in the world at responding to them. And I'll tell you guys, I've said it in Friday Night Flicks. It's not that I'm lazy, it's that I get overwhelmed with the comments, the outpouring. It's not that I'm worried or negative comments because they're going to be trolls. It's not that. It's just that once they pop up on my phone, it makes me smile. And I never go into that part of YouTube because I run it all off my phone. I don't ever do, I rarely sit here at the computer unless I'm doing lives. But the pew pews, I've had people say, "Well, gosh, you can get a pew pew for the same amount of money that you can get that for." And it's true, but this is a tool that's on a different level, right? I mean, this is something that I don't have to just use on my land or at the range or heaven forbid in a defense situation, but I can use it every day at work if I'm processing cardboard or like scotching things, cutting through straps as I'm putting up grain bins, whatever the case may be. So, and some people love watches. I know my dad was into fountain pens, right? My first knife, nice folding knife, stone hands. My first grail that I had to make myself and talk myself into and save for to get was this Benchmade 940. I still love this knife. I know a lot of people don't like the 940. Good evening, Craig. Delaney, I think the more society demonizes pew pews, the more we should all gobble up and buy pew pews. Because if I remember, and this will probably get me beat, but the preamble, it's the right of if ever any form of government becomes destructive. No, the preamble of the Bill of Rights. If ever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it's the right of the people to alter and abolish and institute new government, which can be, you know, vote, and it can also be if things, I look at cities around the country, and we don't talk about that type stuff here because we're here to have fun and not get anybody triggered, and everybody has different sides, and I don't have a side. I'm on the side of let's all just kind of win and lift each other up. It doesn't matter what you are, who you are, what you think you are, as long as you're not impeding on my rights as a human, you're not threatening my family, you have every right to exist as I do. Is a 940 a forever knife for me? You know, it's got a special place, Paul, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily a forever knife because it's so replaceable, right? I can go down to Knives and More right now, where my buddy A to Z, who picked up a Herman and a Boker that he says I've got to see that blew him away. Because he went down there and traded several Benchmades, but this is a knife that's still available. So this is not necessarily, this one doesn't have sentimental value except for it was the first knife I spent more than $200 on. I've also got its little brother. So I do have a matching set of them. I like these little guys. And the 945 actually fits my hand better, but the 940, because it's so thin, so narrow here, even though it's a longer knife, it carries. It has a very similar carry profile, was my point. So when you talk about pocket, what is up, Miranda? Fellow blade addicts in the late night. Good to see another fellow Insomniac knife fan here. Good to see you, Miss Miranda. Rainy. But for me, the 940 gives me more blade and doesn't take up more pocket real estate. That was the main point of that. I like it so much. I got it twice because I like the 945 too. Ooh, dude, that's a winner. That is an absolute winner. Spyderco's, and that's something that they got a lot of love on my channel early on when I was doing real short videos. I really need to go back and film a lot of these, but Spyderco, from a production side, when I think of Spyderco, Benchmade, ZT, Spyderco by a mile is my favorite that size company. The Golden Colorado and the Taichung Taiwan are like my jam. And then when you get into the next level, TRM, Three Rivers Manufacturing, wins it for me because their knives suit me being an urban EDC Amazon packager guy. And they are some of the nicest, kindest, most charitable people that don't do charity to talk about it. They don't want people to know they've done a charitable act. They just do nice things. And they're good people. But there are a lot of great companies out there. And then my favorite right now, I think my favorite import company is Vostede because they're doing cool stuff. Okay, so Stone Hands, I saw that they just dropped some. I don't know what they were. Let's go look. I think they just dropped, but they were Mannixes. Never mind. Let me see if I can find what those were. Because I was looking today and I saw some new stuff. Because Blade HQ is where I usually see the new stuff. M4. Maybe I saw it. Maybe I didn't see it there. No, I didn't see it there. Let's do this. Let's see if it is here. Yeah, it's MagnaCut Mannix that I saw at GP Knives. So not a shaman. My bad. Crispy Critter. With chicken. That's another one I've got that I'm not, and I don't know if you're into these, Paul. I don't have it over here, but I do have a like new in box Freak, which is also, it's an M4. It's probably my favorite big bench made. Well, the Mini Locos is my favorite to use Benchmade because it's the most beefy, but the Freak is a banger too. But I'm not, when I got the Freak, I was surprised at how much it's a full size knife, right? The Freak is a long dude. Ooh, the Infidel is a winner. Triad shootout and the SOCP. Very nice, Delaney. You're exactly right, Miranda. And you get different blade steels. PM2 is my favorite, and I've got little hands, and I bought a PM3 early on when I was collecting because my first PM2, I have it over on my review desk because I use it as a size comparison knife. But it's the S110V. It was Blurple scales. I put some micarta scales on it. And then I thought, well, this knife's so big, I'm bound to love the PM3. So I got a pair of three and I traded it within a week. It's one of the only catch and release knives. I love the pair of two. As a smaller guy that carries smaller knives, I prefer the pair of twos by a mile over the pair of threes. And I have people still argue with me that tells me, and pair three is good, but for me, the pair of two just fits my hand where I guess because I got used to this knife first and I don't feel that the pair of three is cramped, but I just think this knife for me is just a better value. I love my chaparral for my smaller Spyderco and then my little breast cancer awareness sage or little native, which I call my shaman mini. I love this little guy. Yeah, this is a cutlery shop exclusive. I actually traded this knife with brother Justin, OCD EDC. I traded him a SOG XR full sized, I mean, like a machete, a folding machete knife that he really wanted. And this was out of his Spyderco club. So this one's special to me and is a forever knife because it came from Justin and it's got a little extra number up there, which is his membership number. So a lot of people that have traded with Justin since he gets every Spyderco, they all know that number. But yeah, this is my favorite blade. This has got some Raylite. That was my fault on the flick. This has some Raylite titanium, no, rock scale design titanium scales, where my other two have micarta. And then Keith the Knife Freak sold me my Tonto, and my OG is one of the first knives I bought at St. Nick's Knives. It was my second Spyderco. My first was a Dragonfly, and my second was the S110V PM2 because they had them on sale. I want to say I got that knife for right around $170. My first PM2, which was a lot, but it hadn't broken the 200 yet. Stonehands, have a great night. Great morning, buddy. And Paul, dude, everybody, we all have different hands, and it doesn't matter because I talk about A to Z all the time. Pitt, what's up? Yeah, I'm a day sleeper, dude. I get, if I'm lucky, 3 or 4 hours. And we won't go too much longer. How long have we been going? 2 hours. Yeah, y'all feel free to bail anytime, get the sleep that y'all need. I'm just sitting here chatting it up, and as you know, going off on tangents. But one thing we could look at, or I want to look at, I won't make y'all look at it. I'm just curious if anything cool, because I like to look at to see what people are selling. And since I don't shop on Reddit, ooh, I don't want the Mirage. I always like to see what comes into Blade Binge. There's a Django out there. Bunch of Hinderers. Yeah, there's some pretty cool knives. So when you guys, yeah, acid test kids, Pocket Metal and I joke about that. We usually go to bed since I'm doing my own thing, kind of. I go to bed usually when the sun's coming up, a little bit after. I have never owned one, Miranda, but I think they are awesome. Everything I've heard about them is great. The Combat Troden, I think, is the premier. Sure, Paul, is the premier OTF. I've got a Stitch that I love, and this is the CTX. This is the Cutlery Shop exclusive, Paul. So it's got orange G10 scales. Are the scales that it came with, that it has in the box. But God, it's such a good knife. And to me, y'all tell me if I'm crazy, but doesn't the little native look like a mini shaman? And I know all Spydercos look the same. Cold steels are great. I've only got 2 cases over here. I say only, that's kind of a joke, but I don't have my cold steels over here, but I've got an 8015, which is my favorite. I'm waiting for some original goat scales for it. And then I've got an 8010. I've got a American Lawman. I had a Code 4, but I gave it to GP. And I've got my 4 Max. My 4 Max has got a Sawtooth Dave hollow grind on it, which makes it a scary, slicey beast. Check this out. 4 Max, big ass knife. Still got complete tip, thickness, compound grind. Guys, that's a 4 Max. Cold steel 4 Max with one of the best hollow grinds I've seen done by somebody who did it to practice. This is a story he told me. He was practicing grinding knives. And I sent him this, my 8015, and because Sawtooth Dave, if y'all don't follow Sawtooth Dave on YouTube or on Instagram, I would definitely follow him. He does Sunday Blade Talk. He just got his first CNC machine that he's teaching himself how to work it because it's one he rebuilt. So he's getting ready to start making, I think, knives. I mean, to me, it's just the fact that a knife that I know how beefy it was and what I've done with it, he got it so thin. And he didn't put an edge on it either. The Mayhem is awesome. I played with one of those at Blade Show and really, really enjoyed it. And I know Maddie loves that knife. I was never into fixed blades. I was never into slip joints, but I was never into out the fronts until just recently. My first one was the Riot manual out the front. And then from there, I picked up the EMP EDC Pulse because I love EMP EDC. And then I really started liking them and carrying them with this stupid Neptune, which has made me look at Microtechs and some others. Because I think the Microtech, I need that in my collection. I've got this in my collection, which I just failed. And I like the out the side. I've almost got that several times, but the ram lock's more my jam. I'm failing it because I've got my mic in front of me. But this is talk about sharp knives from the factory. That's a thicker grind. But this is my sharpest factory knife. And it's still got the original factory edge on it because I don't use it. But check this out. I mean, that makes some hay, guys. That thing is so freaking slicey. And could you imagine trying to take somebody's Slurpee and them coming at you with that? Really great knife. $300 with an aluminum body, USA made. I just say hats off. You see the type prices that Benchmade's offering and what they're offering for that. And then you see a knife like this that weighs twice as much as any Benchmade I have in my collection. And I know weight and heft doesn't mean everything, right? But it just tells me that I'm getting more value in this knife than I am in this Adamas, which costs $100 more. The mini Adamas. Granted, they're for different type stuff, but they're both USA made. Allegedly. I'll say allegedly just because I don't know. I don't make them. And we all know that there's some shenanigans. I know what I was going to show you guys before we go, and I want y'all to watch this if y'all have been at all interested in what's going on with Benchmade. If you saw Jared's live, if you've heard about what's going on with Benchmade and Montana Knife Company, Marine X did an amazing video today where he pulled all of the documents, because it's all public knowledge. Because basically, the thing that I think is kind of shady, and I don't understand why they would have done this, they did some motion. Benchmade had some motion that Montana Knives had to prepare for. So with lawyers and everything else, it cost them like a bunch of money. I think the number on the documents is $15K. But the day before, Benchmade withdrew that part of the suit. It was almost like just a little nasty. Where is it? Yeah, this right here. So
you can't always plan when you'll need a gun.
I love his ads too. Anyway, if y'all aren't following Marine X, let me skip it. Hold on. I didn't know I was sharing. But this is, he goes through, he says he's not a lawyer, which he's not, but he's very articulate. And then at the end of going through what just happened yesterday, he gets on the phone or reads his DMs.
What I think so far. Prayer for relief. This is what the prayer for relief is for this specific document. Wherefore, Benchmade prayers for relief from the report. Preliminary.
It's basically a non-compete.
This point, why Benchmade did not send a cease and desist before they filed this initial action. Something in my bones just tells me that this could have been resolved.
I agree. I think anytime it turns to, especially in the community, I'm going to put a link for this in the chat. I'm going to put a link to Marine X's page. I know y'all are probably following him. He's a huge creator. I like his content. Some people like it, some people don't, but that's, everybody likes different stuff.
The thing that I think about this, guys,
I'm going to share this link because I think this is a good watch, whether you like the content or not. I think this shows a very interesting side of what I've heard for years and never really understood. And I'm almost nervous to say it, what I've heard, because it's alleged. And it has to do with litigious nature of certain companies. That certain company, when a certain company's heir took over, that they lawyered up to protect patents and do stuff like that, and have filed a lot of different stuff. They seem very, I want court to be, they seem like they're the big kid, the bully on the playground, that they've got the resources to put people through, small companies through the hurdles where small companies can't fight on a fair field. So I would urge you guys, and I might do that Friday night, in the live, might have that video be the giveaway video, because I think it's important. And I think that Marine X, he doesn't take sides because he's a Benchmade fan. He likes Benchmade, but he just reads the documents and the recent filings that both, yeah, acid test kids, but do they really have to? Because this one is simply, they're basically enforcing a non-compete, which they've got a 2-year non-compete, which I think that from what I understand, the maximum's a year. You can't even have a 2-year non-compete, but there was some intellectual property and things like that alleged. And that motion that Benchmade had filed, that Montana Knife Company, and this is all I learned from Marine X's video, filed a motion to get the fees recouped, is because Benchmade pulled that part of the suit the day before it was to go to trial and said they'd settled with the employee. They'd figured they'd worked that out with the employee, which means the employee is the person who is the I guess the defendant, or the person that is attached to Montana Knife Company. I don't even know who Montana Knife Company is. Let me Google them. Let's see what they even do. Looks like it's mainly fixed blades. So, first of all, non-competes, it looks like, because the language in all the documents that Marine X reads are terminated, which sounds to me like the guy, and he was the head of development, was fired and then was hired by these guys after a year. To me, it sounds crazy. And I don't know what secret squirrel shit you could bring from Benchmade to Montana Knife Company that's so super secret squirrel that's going to be intellectual property. They have folding knives? No. So back to the question at hand. I mean, this is gangster rap shit. So if you go, let me find this guy's position. Hold on. I mean, he goes through and crosses all the T's, dots all the I's. Okay, so this guy that was terminated, that then waited a year to get back into the industry, but not the 2 years, was the director of manufacturing innovation. And basically, this all stems over this non-compete clause, which Alabama is hard to enforce that. I mean, you can't, it's a right to work state. But Marine X goes through every single bit of it, and he tries to make sense of what they're saying. Because, I mean, it's all laid out right here. It's crazy. It seems to me very wasteful. It seems disingenuous. It seems like Benchmade is flexing, trying to get Zen Shop EDC. What is up, buddy? Good morning, my friend. Good morning. So it looks like they're used to flexing and scaring people to settle. Or what's up, Knives Out? Welcome, brother. So I pinned it in the top of the chat. I saw it today. I don't know when Marine X streamed it, but it was very informative. I watched all of it. Miranda, you've got my knife of the year from last year, and my buddy just got he got his second. He got one of the DLC, which I didn't get. I thought about it at the time, but I just love this knife. I dare say I like it in the hand. A lot of people accuse it of being a wannabe Evo, which I don't necessarily see that. I think they're totally different knives. But the Padre has probably the best detent of anything in my collection. It's just fantastic. And it falls on my thumb. It kisses me and makes me bleed at least once every 2 weeks. Paul, this is funny, dude. I was looking for my video for the Tempest, the Bowie Tempest. I never made a video on that knife. I don't care. I did a short. And what's funny, let me show y'all something. And this is just, I don't get a lot of views, but this is my best performing short. And this is a knife I traded with Brother Paul. So if I go to content and I go to shorts and I filter by, let's do this, views. No, that's not what I want to do. I want it to go like that. Like that. Look, Paul. Look at my top viewed short. My Sharp by Design Bowie is my number one. And so I thought about that. I kept thinking, well, if that's gotten 14,000 views and it's my top viewed short, I said, I wonder what the review got. So I went and I tried to find the review, and I'll be damned if in all my confusion, because I was just reviewing knives, I just review knives out of my collection. I do not have a Sharp by Design review. I've got the Apex that Needham sent me to check out, but I did not review the Tempest. I did a skiff swap on it, but I did not, like an idiot, do a review, which for me is rare. Several shorts, but no review, no overview. I think that's funny. I hope you like it, buddy. I really do. It's a great knife. I never carried it. And I can't think of a better person to trade it with. Because you, my friend, put that in my hands, which led to me falling in love with that, which both of these knives and this knife came from one of my most controversial knives that I reviewed on the channel that I bought because I expected it to be shitty, and it turned out to be fantastic, the Ifengro EF225. And everybody was like, well, how can you do that? There's no good reason to buy that knife. You know, it hurts everybody else. I'm like, no, it doesn't. They're totally different price points. And I bought a $70 knife that made me appreciate a design that never was on my radar, that led to 3 US purchases that I would have never purchased if I hadn't experienced that knife first. So again, I could probably argue that and it will never win because there's not really a right answer. But the bottom line is they don't call it the name of the knife it looks like. That knife came out about the time the company broke up. There could be an agreement that none of us know about because they sell it openly on Amazon. And if y'all don't know, the Effengro EF225 is an SNG wannabe. Where's the review on that? Let's go. 225. So this right here was the knife that made me appreciate Striders. And I mean, I got my brains beat out. This is about the same size as the SMF. So it's bigger than the S&G, but $69. Shut up. Play. So that is what I experienced first that made me even consider them. And that's a $69 knife. And I thought it was going to be crappy, which it's not. And more importantly, what happened? There we go. Whoops. Sorry, guys. I'm back here behind the scenes trying to find something. I'm not engaged like I should be. Let's do that. Cancel that. Yes. Let's do that. Yeah. Okay. So what really surprised me, Miranda, they're great. And I can tell you, and most people would tell me it's horrible to say this, but this Grow is very, very much, even though it's the bigger version, it is a great knife for $69. That's it taken apart. It is absolutely a tank. Oh, hey guys, y'all are gonna have to give me a second. My cat friend is here, scratching at the door. Give me 1 sec. Whoops. I'll give y'all a little music. Be right back. Sorry about that, kids. Yeah, they lead. You're exactly right, Craig. It's kind of like a gateway, right? It's kind of like the way that budget knives were for me to the hobby. But so I've got this black and white cat, Tippy, that lives with me. I've had it since she was 4 weeks old. She was a feral little cat that showed up. But this cat's been showing up at my house at the weirdest time. And it's got a collar. It's got a pink flea collar on. And it and Tippy hang out and seem to like be interested in each other, but they don't seem to really like each other, but they don't fight. And so the cat has gotten so bold, it just knocked on the door. I've got a glass door. Brent, we're still just kind of kicking it, dude. We're not going to be going much longer. We've been going about 2.5 hours. I just had the, let me see if I can show you all that cat. I'm going to stop sharing this. What? Tippy's on there. Tippy. Come here. She's rubbing her head on my lamp. All right, so let's do this. Let's remove that. All right, I'm going to show y'all who just came to my door. I don't know if you can see him down there. That's Tippy looking at him. And then the first time they met, that was the yellow cat looking in the glass door. And that was Tippy looking out the glass door. So right now, if I were to take a picture, we're just waiting for Yellow Cat to finish eating. I just took her out a handful of food. What are you going to watch, dude? What are y'all going to watch tonight? I wish I had the mental fortitude to watch a movie. My ADHD, it's hard for me to stay that dialed in for that long. Even if it's a great movie. Night Pit, channel member, have a great night, buddy. Have a great week. I hope to see you Friday for our regular hangout. This was just kind of a random thing because I slept all day. But guys, it is getting late. It's about 2:30, 3:30 for y'all on the East Coast. I'm going to let y'all get out of here. I'll still be up. I appreciate each and every one of y'all hanging out. It's always great to chat with you. Hopefully soon I'll have some new stuff to show you guys. Oh, you watched Discord together. I got you. Miranda, it's great to see you. Great to meet you, girl. And y'all have a great night. Y'all, I've hooked Discord up and set it up for the channel. I don't have the paid version, but I did it because there's a call feature on there. And my soundboard lets me patch calls in to the lives, and I've got to figure out how to do it, figure out how to use the Discord, because several of y'all have joined and all I've done is wave to people, but it'll be cool. Take care, Paul. Guys, I love each and every one of you. All I ask, as always, please, please, please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart, and always choose debate, not hate. And you know I love you all. Be up. Have a great week. Peace.